Welcome to the Expert Talks by Kalkine TV. Sage here, and today's guest is Mr. Adam C Chaplin, CEO of DeFi For You. And today's guest will share his expert insights to help us understand the elusive DeFi space. And DeFi For You is a digital asset-backed finance and NFT trading platform. It facilitates lending by securing crypto and NFT collateral packages in smart contracts, which are released when the loan is repaid or a liquidation threshold is met. Sounds very interesting indeed. So I'm excited to bring you live today Mr. Adam C Chaplin, CEO of DeFi For You. Welcome to the show, Adam. Let's jump straight into the discussion. We were just interested in your insights on the common red flags and risks related to the DeFi space.
Wow, how long have you got? Okay, with any new space and any new tech, whether that's be the wheels that were invented thousands of years ago or banks or whatever, there's going to be people out there that are going to abuse it for sure. And there's some very clever developers out there, very clever programmers out there that can do their thing. But the biggest red flag, the one to watch for, in my humble opinion, obviously, it's only me, is that people need to remember that it's a tech startup. It's not just a cryptocurrency. I'm talking my hands still here, but it's actually a tech startup. So if you want to lessen your risk, have a look at who's actually running the team on a business level. Have a look at their funding. Have a look at their developers. Have a look at their past history. And obviously, the better the team or the better you perceive the team to be, the less chance of risk. As far as volatility goes with DeFi, it's a roller coaster. One bit of bad press and we all go shooting down to the bottom. One bit of good press, we'll go moving up to the top. So the thing to really avoid is the overhyped cryptos that are going out for sort of $1, $2, $3, $4 DeFi, rising up, $1 billion market caps, and then the next week, absolutely nothing. So look at the team. Look at the team. Look at the business side of it. Look at the actual idea of it, because DeFi is a very broad term. And the red flag is obviously don't be sending your crypto to anybody you think in any way, shape or form is not going to appreciate that, and at least use that for development. So the red flag is the team, really. So that's sort of with most crypto.
Yes.
And there's plenty of good teams out there. I want to say that now.
Absolutely, and I'm sure yours is included in that. And one good way to find out about the team would be going to their website, going to their Twitter pages, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's social media. I love social media. Can be a double-edged sword, because obviously a lot of people invest in or put money into crypto and are expecting some sort of magical one to be worth $40,000 more than they were yesterday. It's a roller coaster ride, and be aware that projects take time to develop. Real projects, people aren't just sort of doing a meme coin or some picture somewhere. And be cool, sit back, relax, and as long as your team's working, enjoy it. Really, I would say there's so many different facets and sides to it. Don't try and understand it all. That's not to be derogatory. I know we want to understand what we put our money into, but try and understand the overall picture. And the overall picture with DeFi, the overall message, if you will, is that there's nothing. I'm not saying all banks are wrong. There's good banks and there's bad banks. There's good investment houses and there's bad investment houses. But with DeFi, it gives us, the normal folks, if you will, the middle and the lower runs of the ladder, not the top end elite. Gives us a chance to actually create our own financing around our own monetary systems. There are a few problems with DeFi. There will always be a few problems with any new tech. But if you can control your urge just to be buying crypto as some sort of investment, and you want to make money, it doesn't always work that way. Not all traders are multi-billionaires, but DeFi is going to be here, but it's going to change in the future, in my humble opinion.
Yep, sure, very true. We're just at the beginning of this sort of emerging technology. So you've mentioned there that there are a few problems. Do any come to mind straight away, just off the top of your head?
Well, they're just let's call them scammers for the bigger word, okay? Because a lot of people are involved in blockchain, and one of the misconceptions of blockchain, of course, is that it's going to be used for criminal purposes. Well, if you're a criminal and you start using DeFi and blockchain for criminal services, you can be tracked. Every single transaction's tracked. If you've KYC'd anywhere, all wallets are traced back. So actually, as a criminal, if you really understand blockchain, you're probably off better staying away from it, or staying with a coin you haven't had to Monroe, whatever, you haven't had to KYC. But if you want to be a criminal, crypto's not the way ahead for sure. So the one good thing about crypto that nobody talks about is it's a perfect ledger. So if you are an investor of any type, from $100 up to billions of dollars, it's all written down for you. You can see what comes in and out of the wallet. You can see when you're coming in and out of the market. So that's the great thing about crypto. But the downside is that a lot of people associate cryptocurrency with scammers, because there is so many of them. You go onto a Telegram group and you're speaking to the CMO, and you're definitely speaking to the CMO. Next thing you know, you still think you're speaking to the CMO, but somebody's picked up conversation, is asking for your seed phrases, or they build backdoors into contract. It goes on and on and on because it's new. But the big trust issue is obviously make sure your team isn't going to grab the money and run, and are going to use that for development. Make sure the team know what they're doing. But there's not. As a risk factor, if you're going to go into crypto and you don't think you're going to go into a risk market, you're either drinking a lot at night or you really haven't studied it at all. It is a bouncy ride, to say the least. Yeah, all that's gone on with the big run this year or last year, the so-called bull run. There we are. Look, brought this along for my demonstration. The bull run. Everyone's an expert in the bull run because everything goes up and then everything goes down, and everyone cries about it. DeFi is extremely volatile, extremely new, and for those that get it right, will be extremely profitable. That's my
excellent
opinion on that one.
Thank you very much for that, putting quite a complex subject into a nutshell for us. Now, the other thing would be the exit of Andre Conge from the space just last week. That was a bit of a bombshell. Do you have any insights to share on that? It's just hot off the press, but do you think there's anything underlying that decision?
I think we're dealing with, you got to respect people's decisions, choices that they make. The bigger the companies that we deal with and we sort of we partner with, the harder it is, because the more regulations they have, the scared they are of stepping over some constitutional law or line somewhere. And a big name that's involved in crypto, it's got, they're putting a lot of risk on themselves, and it should go wrong. The project fails, and 80 to 90% of them fail. So I understand that people that are already established really don't need crypto as much. And I suppose get cold feet. That would be cold feet would be more than the best way to describe that, I would say. Great.
Okay. Thanks so much. Now, we've also talked about some scams and rug pulls such as Squid Game. You've told us a little bit about them being there, for people to be aware of them, but how can people prevent the occurrence of them or prevent getting involved in them? Any other insights?
Yeah, I mean, if it's brand new, like Squid Game, and they did that very quickly, and it was very much in line with the TV stuff, and then, Squid Game, and it made everyone look. If it's brand new and they're launching, and you see like 5 wallets actually open, so there's only 5 people actually used it, and they've got a huge amount of tokens that they're gonna sell straight away, and the directors stroke CEOs are all selling their crypto on the first IDO, ICO, whatever they're going out at, then I'm not into brand new projects that haven't been developed yet, because they're too far away from finishing. But the trouble is with crypto is that people look at the coin market cap, and they look at the trade, not the trading volumes, but they look at the overall supposed volume of the chain. And I personally think that's a little bit misleading, because you might have a chain with 1 billion tokens or coins on, but you may have only sold 3%, but the value goes through the whole chain. So look at the trading volume, make sure there is some trading volume. That's a very, very good bit of advice. But as far as avoiding all the clever scams, every time we sort of sort one out and we realise what they're doing, then there's another one comes along. But here's the thing: if it sounds too good to be true, check it out, and it probably is. And if it's brand new and it's working against a fashion statement, shall we say, like the Squid Game's fashion thing at the time, just be a little bit wary. But at the same time, there's been a lot of people make a lot of money on similar projects. So what do I know?
Well, I did like what you said about it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's meant to be more of a long-term investment idea that you do research in and gain knowledge through. The DeFi industry had received nearly $1 billion in value from illicit wallets, unfortunately, and the US Senate's quite adamant that they want to reduce the risk involved for the consumer getting involved in DeFi.
Sure. I think reduce the risk involved means we'd like to tax it, but that's just my opinion of what they're saying, right? The wonderful thing about crypto is it's a huge test bed for technology. Governments are definitely going to want to tax this. There's no getting around that. All right, they don't. Oh, it's no problem. Everyone's making good money. You keep it. I've got friends in Sweden having a nightmare. There's crypto lawyers popping up everywhere. There's a whole set of new rules coming with crypto. Yes, of course they're going to tax it, and the first thing they do to tax it is obviously moan about it. But these same senates are probably own more Bitcoin than you and I, and the whole of the audience watching this. So it's a little bit hypocritical. But if you want to make something accepted within a community, all you've got to do is ban it. And I think that's what they're doing. They're just they're pussyfooting around. And if you take the Canadian Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, the good-looking fella.
Yep.
Everyone talks about decentralized crypto and the whole thing, but as soon as there was a problem and there was donations to websites that he didn't like or to crypto sites he didn't like, the government closed those down straight away. Now, I don't agree with that, obviously, but that's what the government did. So the people that are living in cloud cuckoo land and think that governments aren't going to want to tax this either need to take a lot more whiskey or a lot less to be understanding what's going on. So we've very much gone down the path of accepting this is going to happen and offering the olive branch of saying, okay, we want a foot in the bank and we want a foot in the real world and give people a chance. But yeah, it's going to be taxed. Why wouldn't it be taxed? It'd be the first thing ever invented in the history of the world that made any returns that wasn't taxed. And a lot of governors from America, without trying to sound derogatory here, is they may be 65, they may be 70, and it's a big, oh, what is this crypto? How does it really work? Look, if you want to book a holiday on a website, you don't care it's HTML, blockchain, you don't care what the program is, as long as you get on there and it works for you, right? And the senators are trying to sort of, this crypto is some sort of magical thing in the air. It's not, it's a program. Yeah, it's programs on a program. It can be understood. Most things I put my money into other than property, early days, endowment mortgages and policies with the bank, I lost everything on, So it's not just crypto, it's across the board. Regulation, God, I could be hated for this now. Don't hate me, the purist. I think we need a bit. I think we need a bit of regulation. Because when you've got no regulation and it's the Wild West, that's great. And for the purists, I understand that. And blockchain, as far as Bitcoin for store of wealth, that's fabulous. Beats gold all day long in my book. Not just for returns, but there's other uses of crypto than just storing wealth. We have a problem with the banks. This is a fact. We've got a huge problem coming, whether people want to admit it or not. I mean, people talk about 1920. If you actually do any risk assessments at the moment for a lot of the Nasdaq investments, they are off the charts high. Never been seen before high. We've got huge printing of money. Okay, crypto, believe it or not, if inflation does what we think it might do this year, will be a lot more stable than keeping with your money in the bank, because obviously the money in the bank now is no longer stable. People are now starting to realise how it works. But yeah, it doesn't cure the problem straight away. It makes a problem, solves a problem, and sort of makes another problem. But yes, I'm afraid we're going to be taxed, and yes, we're going to have to get into line a little bit. Doesn't mean we have to all be good little boys, and we can all have our own opinions, our own crypto. But yeah, I'm afraid that taxation's coming. And that's what it's really about, the moaning. They don't really care. They just want some tax money, in my opinion.
Yes, and I believe some other major crypto influencers might support your opinion there about the expected decrease in value in many major currencies due to the effects of the rising inflation. But let's stick with the DeFi topic. And there's much to DeFi. I mean, there's staking, there's earning yield, there's lending, and there's also how the use of wallets come into play with this. Do you have any insights to share on that?
Yeah, if you're a newbie, let's say if you're a newbie and somebody starts to describe DeFi for you, if you can stay awake, you're like, oh, okay, no, right? I think the cryptocurrency market forgets that our real future is grandma that sat at home, it's Uncle John over there and sat in the pub. It's just a normalization of crypto, and we've got to make it simpler. But I don't blame the cryptocurrency space for this. All my family are doctors, and they all use ridiculous words so they can charge you double time for it. Glutamus maximus, your bottom, whatever. And crypto has its own language, and it can be very scary for the non-techie people. And it shouldn't just be people in tech that should be getting involved. It should be everybody, from the grandma to the crazy uncle that scares you at parties, to your mother and father, to transfers. I mean, crypto in Vietnam, because the VND has always fluctuated heavily, because it was hard to move money in and out of the country. I think they are now the second biggest user in the world. Ukraine first, and Vietnam, and then some other country. But it's huge here because there's a massive gap for it. Crypto hasn't grown so quickly in Europe because we're not really educated what money is, and we sort of think about putting it in the bank or putting it on an endowment. Whereas in Asia, whether they're selling water on the side of the street or they've got some huge Hilton complex they've bought, they know that money devalues so quickly here, they have to get into investments. So there's a million and one things that can be done with DeFi. The one that we all talk about now, the one that everybody knows about, is, as you said there, you open your wallets and you've got DeFi, you get staking. What's staking? Is that cooking something? Or no, staking is where you put your DeFi into an account, effectively, and you get a reward for that. Farming is when you gamble a bit with other people's crypto and your own crypto against other cryptos. But the whole terms can be quite misleading. And what we do for our newbies is we have a very rare system. We actually talk to our new people. Yes, it's a new thing. Tech companies talking to new people as much as we can. I can't be on there 24 hours a day. But if they've got trouble with their wallets, or they can't stake, or they don't know how to farm, we have somebody 24 hours a day available for them to at least walk them through that slow time, so they can understand that a wallet is just like a wallet. It goes in your pocket. There we are. That's my wallet. That's holding my money. I'm staking. That's just like having a bank account and getting a return on that. I'm farming, a bit more high risk, but hopefully when the yield comes through, I'll make more money. So we try and put it into a language that people can understand and not complicate it. Because it isn't so hard. It's not like you've got to be some sort of special guru. But if I'm from the outside looking in, and I look at all the team, like DeFi itself is straight away decentralized. The whole thing just looks like it's old techie, but it shouldn't be. It should be a press of a button, and anybody that's over 5 years old, if they had money, could actually open the wallet, start staking on one press. So we're all about trying to make it easy to the masses. We were going out on a big national TV program on the 12th. We were today. We've had to change that because there's a war in Ukraine, and we've done a deal with the banks in Ukraine. So Ukraine's legal. So Ukraine is legal for cryptocurrency. We have a partnership actually with a legal country, Ukraine, which we launched 2 weeks ago. That's nobody's fault, obviously, but we're going to have to put that on a burner. No, when I say burner, that's probably the wrong one. Put that to the side for now. So we're making friends with banks. We're making friends with Financial Conduct Authority. We're making friends with governments because it's the way it's going to be. Because all they're doing, if people really understand this, is allowing us to do whatever we want to find out which is the best systems. And they're waiting for the systems to actually appear, and that's where you'll see more and more stable coins and less altcoins coming out. So we are basically sort of getting rather well paid sometimes for a lot of exploratory new tech, in my opinion.
Thank you very much for your valuable opinions. And just while we're talking about what your company offers, in regards to staking, do you think it's the price of the crypto that's being staked that will affect the return, or the volume of the pool, for example, that will affect the return more?
Each one's different, but here's the reality of why it's done. You've got 1 billion tokens, okay, and effectively people are like, well, how can that have a value? That's not right. Well, they actually just print money as well, so tokens are actually minted. What gives them a value is whatever the company does around those tokens or around those particular coins. When we looked at DeFi itself, per se, to answer your question, we found there's a bit of a hole in it. It's a bit inflexible. You first got to prove you don't need a loan to get a loan. So you're going to give me $100 worth of Bitcoin. I'm going to give you $25 back. If the market drops, I'll just sell your position and I'm okay, Jack. Not very flexible, not really very introductory. Don't get me wrong, some people make some fabulous returns on farming if they get it at the right time. But the reason that it's been designed that way, if you want the truth, is to try and release that token slowly out into the community. So people aren't just selling what they bought, they're staking, they're farming, they're getting extra tokens for that, they're getting involved in the project, they're not just going to dump. So a lot of that's been designed to try and elongate the time the token stroke coin gets out there. And it works well in many ways, and it fails in other ways. Again, it's a test thing. But with crypto, there's the hype crypto and there's the real crypto. So you've got to pick. You can make money in the hype crypto. There is money to be made. It's a casino. Get your dice out there, give it a roll. Don't ask me for any advice. I have no idea. I told my friend about a year and a half ago that he should sell all his Shiba coin, and if he'd have kept them all, he'd have been literally a billionaire. But there we are. So what do I know? So there's two different types. There's the build it crypto, the safer stuff, and there's the roll the dice crypto, which can offer some fabulous returns. Both have their own merits, but we're trying to build a system here that can replace. Right, we all moan about banks, right? Everybody, the bank this and the bank that and the bank this and the bank that, they do this and they do that. And some of the stuff that the larger banks do with the money laundering and you can go on and talk about banks forever is, questionable to say the least. So we've been moaning about it for the last 100 years. We're building a system that allows people to go on there, use their own assets to finance against or to offer other people finance on peer-to-peer. So we're building a system that we can basically bank to each other. It's very, very, it's a very aggressive move on a market. It needs to be done. Whether we're the ones to make it over the line as far as marketing goes or not, but certainly on a production front and a development front, we're the first people to do it. So we can loan to and borrow to each other. That's what we like about the DeFi that we're and the contract we're putting in. We can find out who's got good reputation and haven't, and get involved as much as we want, or we can sit back and take loans, or we can sit back and give loans. So we wanted DeFi to be more than just about having $100, getting a loan on it, and then if it drops, it going back. So this is a lot of work. So decentralized finance is not the metaverse, but it can be, within reason, whatever you want it to be, in my humble opinion.
Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. I'm sure you're very busy. And best of luck with your projects there at DeFi For You. So it sounds like you've got some great support for people who do want to get involved. Is there education that can be gained from heading to your website?
Oh, an education. Well, we do a lot of videos. We do it in video, okay? If you go back to sort of Facebook when it first started, it was just one single line, like a WordPress site, and it had one news page feed, and you learn how to use that, and then the messaging came in, then you could call, and then there was tagging, and over time it's become quite a complicated website. We've put a lot on our website, probably too much too early, but we will have a video for each section, each point, one video for people that understand what they're doing, and one video for not crypto for dummies, but to explain it in layman's terms to people who haven't got a clue what a wallet is, take them right back to the beginning. So throughout the whole process of going on there with us, you'll be able to have a video of either me or some other probably more handsome chap telling you how to use it. But we have to make a change in our heads from going to the bank to then start going to looking like sites like we have. We have porn, we have FCA licenses. And we have to get people using it. It's all very well saying we'd like to be our own bank. Well, it's being built. Let's use it, not just to speculate, but banks can give you loans into borrow, lend when you need it in times of pain, and we've got some pain coming. Whether people understand that or they don't, there's no getting around it. You can't. I think it's 80% of all US dollars have been printed. They're in circulation now. Have been printed in the last 4 years. That's scary if you understand the economics. When the US dollar, the petrodollar collapsed, that was scary. They've covered it very well. Whatever you believe the war is or the war isn't, But if you think there's not a crash coming, then you really do need to read more articles and understand. Of course, the money experts, they always say the same thing. I'm older, so I've heard it 3 times now, through the property, through no, there's nothing wrong, everything's perfect. Just look at the inflation rates, and then I think crypto's going to do one or two things. DeFi, people are actually going to go to it and think, do you know what? There might be a better way. Or they're going to go, I'm going to buy gold and put it under my bed. So I'm not quite sure. Or maybe a bit of both, I don't know. But the future for DeFi is as good as the developers and the people around developing it, and the support it gets, because it needs more than just buying of a token. You need to get involved with the project to make it actually work. Where are you, by the way? Sorry, I didn't ask you. You look, where are you actually based?
We're in Sydney, Australia.
You're in Sydney?
Yeah.
I hear Australia's a lovely country, but it's full of Australians. Is that right? I've never been yet. I'm going to go.
Yes.
So that's my overview, really.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying the same thing, that there's possibly going to be a recession and that US inflation could hit 8% or even double digits by 2024. But yes, what will happen when Russia blocks all their crypto that's being mined there from the world? Do you think that's a possibility before we end the conversation today?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think, obviously Russia started saying things like they were going to be banning crypto because obviously they want to tax crypto. Because they all want to go to their own dollars or whatever they're going to print. So yeah, and I understand that governments want to try and control the monetary system, because obviously through that control they are funded. The oligarchs, if I was an oligarch now and I had some crypto, I'd be pretty worried, to be honest. especially if I had a yacht as well. But you can't stop cash movement. You can't stop people with private wallets. You can't stop banks doing under the table deals. And a lot of this so-called sanctions are not going to affect a multi-billionaire. So I don't think it's going to stop the absolute movement. It's just going to make people more canny, which is another word for sneaky, when they move their crypto, in my humble opinion.
Right, thank you so much. It's interesting to see Russia's now the most sanctioned country in the world, and they haven't yet stopped their energy being exported to the world yet, but who knows?
No, I believe it or not, many years ago, picture this, I was a Royal Marine Commando, so I went to the first Gulf War, blah, 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 in another world when I was a lot slimmer. Not quite as handsome then, but anyway. But the point being is, so I do know a lot about this and the geographics of it and how it all ebbs out. And if you think crypto is going to make the war any worse, I don't think it's going to make it any worse or any better. I don't think there's anything good about war in any way generally. So if they ban crypto, it'll just make it more popular. And I'm sure there's plenty of people scrambling in Russia trying to get Ukraine accounts or trying to get UK accounts, because they've made this sweeping statement that basically anybody's Russian with money is going to get closed down, which is great for PR, but I'd rather that they did it another way and didn't start killing each other, in my humble opinion.
Thank you so much, Adam, for your opinion. We really do appreciate your insights today.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, and nice to speak to you, Australia. I'm coming soon. Lock up your whoever you know.
Best of luck with your plans moving forward.
Thank you very much.
And if you just joined us, we had a very enlightening discussion with Mr. Adam C Chaplin, CEO of DeFi For You. Please watch the full interview at Kalkine Media's YouTube channel and keep watching for more live expert talks, market insights. Until the next episode, stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine Media.